Good afternoon. My name is Dan Barry. I'm president for Howard & Friends, based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. For those of you who are not familiar with Howard & Friends, Howard & Friends was the very first real estate contact management system in the world. Before ACT, Top Producer, Outlook, before anybody. In 1995, I purchased the company, converted it from DOS. I'm also a real estate broker. I've been a real estate broker for 20-some years. And so I wear two hats and have kind of a unique perspective in developing software because I develop it so I can use it. And in my market, I used to use these products and I didn't sell them in Utah because I used them to have an unfair advantage against the rest of my competitors. This particular product is called Agent'sFIRSTChoice, and it's the update to our Howard & Friends product for those of you who may be familiar with it. There's actually two products that we're going to be demonstrating here for you today, both of which work together. Agent'sFIRSTChoice, which is the contact management system, and then Agent on the Go, which is the wireless application to your smartphone. And both of those will work in sync with each other. What you're looking at here on this particular screen, so we brought this up, is it looks like Outlook at first glance for those of you who are using Outlook. But this is not an Outlook overlay. This is a completely separate standalone product that hosts your data on the RAMB servers, and then that data is able to be transferred from computer to computer. So if you have it installed to your laptop, your home, your office, wherever you have it installed, the data that you see here is also the data that you'll see when you log in on another computer. Okay? There's a couple of things, however, that you'll notice that when we pull up a calendar, and I'm just looking at this from a monthly calendar as opposed to a week or day or work week, and that is that I've highlighted an event which is a closing date, and I have in my bird's eye view, I have a closing, and below that I can see all the details associated with that particular closing, including all the people that are involved with this particular closing, any notes or anything that's been associated with it. And I can see the person, I can see their role, I can see any notes or anything that are particular to that person. I can see the next task that's due on this particular closing, and any history that's also associated with this. Now, the reason why this is important is because the information that you see on this screen is going to be the same information that we're going to see on our phone. So you're going to have access to that information without having to go from screen to screen to screen. If I were to look at a different event, such as to meet Kim Smith, here we can see Kim Smith, the details to meet Kim Smith. We can see what transactions Kim Smith is involved in, what's upcoming for Kim Smith, as well as any history. If this was an event that was tied into a letter, for instance, here we have an event which is to send out a thank you letter that involves Kim Smith and is also tied into this listing. Here I can see the letter on the page. I can see Kim Smith's details, and I can see the details associated with that particular transaction, all on this one page. Now, here are these events that I see to meet Kim Smith for today. And if I were to pull up my phone, this same information that we see available in our database is available to us on our phone. Now, this is a real phone. Okay? It's an emulator that's on this computer. And so the same information that's there is also available to me here. And for those of you, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it around, you can go ahead and play with that if you like. Just bring it back. For those of you who aren't using a BlackBerry, okay, don't panic. Okay? This will work on any web-enabled phone. So, iPhones, HTC, any type of web-enabled phone. That means if you can get on the internet, this database that I'm showing you is available to you on your phone. So, for instance, data that I've entered in on my phone will automatically translate to my desktop. Information that I've entered on my desktop will automatically be on my phone. So if my assistant is working at the office and enters in something, such as a new appointment today, and I'll say I have an appointment today with, and we'll put in Deborah, and since she's in my database, there's Deborah Boza-Valador. So I have an event that's going to occur today, and I will say my time is at 3 o'clock, and I'll put a note in here. This is the second session. Spelling is up to you. We can only do so much. And so we have a date for today, 28th. So we have a new event, which is to meet Deborah Boza-Valador here today for the second session. And as I open up my phone, and I'll just refresh my screen. We will see that we have an event that's appeared on my phone. Now, notice over on my bird's eye view of this event, I have my notes that were entered in here, any associated transactions that this may have been tied to, or any correspondence that may have been necessary to go out. I have all Deborah's phone numbers and contact information, and what she's involved in, and calendar events, as well as the history. So when I click on this event on my phone, notice that it's brought up my event, so I see it just like my bird's eye view. It has my history of other things that I've entered in here for Deborah Boza-Valador. I could mark this item as complete or reschedule it, and it would automatically update my desktop. Or if I wanted to call Deborah, I could get into Deborah's details from here. And so from here, I'm able to give her a call, as long as her voicemail isn't full. Or I could email her from here. And the emails that I've sent will be stored into her history file. So I have everything in one spot, everything in one place. Okay? That's one of the functions that we have available to us in here. Another one of our functions is, if we look at our closings, and for those of you, how many people in here are using the CMA Plus and Money Magic product? One person. Okay, well, we've had this product available to you for free, four-letter word free, for the last 2 years. Okay, now, no, the CMA Plus product. Okay, now, one of the ways, if you don't want to use it, you're happy with whatever you're using for your listing presentations, things along those lines. But one of the ways that you can use this is that by using CMA Plus to pull in data from your MLS, you will now be able to get information that I have on my database on my phone. So here's 9601 Garnett, and if I want to view the details, and by the way, if you had 50 listings in here, you'd be able to see those same details here. I can also see what other transactions and persons that are involved in here. But let's just look at the details of this particular closing. And here we can see the details of this particular closing. If I wanted to change the dates, my trigger dates, everything along these lines are on my screen. My property information, this information would have come in directly from the MLS using the CMA Plus product. My notes, my participants, and I can have lots of different participants. And one of the unique things about the way that we look at transactions are that you may have one person, such as Bruce McMullen, who's involved in many different transactions and has different roles associated with each one. Sometimes he's the buyer, sometimes he's the seller, sometimes he's an investor, sometimes he's a renter. So that same person, if I were to look up Bruce McMullen's file, I would now see all the transactions that Bruce is associated with. So I can get to that information quickly.